Mark in the count. The swing arm now coming back as our countdown continues.
Good afternoon, good evening, whatever makes sense to you. Hello, everybody. I'm Brick Something, and welcome to the Brick Something News. Today, even though it's Sunday, we're joined by the Saturday morning toy collector, Mark, to my, I got it right, this way. What's up, Mark?
Hey, buddy. How's it going? Doing great. Doing great.
Yeah, good. I hope so. I know we were just talking right before we started that you've been busy online today.
It's been a busy day.
Why don't you break down, folks, your schedule so they can kind of get to know you as a toy tuber? You had a busy morning, and that's kind of what you do on the weekends, huh?
Yeah. So yeah, today we actually launched our very first episode of The Tribe, which is an all AWOK focused fan show. I really keep trying to, is it a live stream? It is a live stream, yeah, but it's not a channel. So it's like, what is it? It's a fan show is what it is. So I've been doing YouTube now for about 4 years. I have my own channel. It's called Saturday Morning Toy Collector. And I do reviews, based I just love toys that are like modern remakes of like toys that I grew up with the 80s, in the 80s. So anything that's He-Man or G.I. Joe, Transformers, Silverhawks, that kind of stuff. And then I do some adjacent stuff. I do stuff like, had this come out when I was a kid, like I totally would have collected it, whether that's AWOK or Mythics or Plunderlings or anything like that. So so basically the way it works is Saturday Morning Toy Collector is like how I review toys. So like Mondays and Wednesdays, those are my reviews. I have an interview series on my channel called Meet the Collector, where I interview people. Either they're in the toy community, like they may work in the toy manufacturing business, toy production business, or they may be just a fan or in the community, the fan community. And so I interview people about their collecting habits, how they got started collecting, because, like I don't talk to them about what they do, their jobs, their work, or, their family stuff. I talk to them strictly about toys. So we kind of like strip all of that stuff away, whether they, work for Four Horsemen or, whoever. And we strip all that away, and I'm just focusing on the collector. That's why I call it Meet the Collector. We've got
Let's pause there for a second. Let's give them a sense. You had Bill Drunowski, aka Dorklair. You had Nikki Nicole, one of the most, for my money, talented painters, customizers in the game, who is now painting for Savage Crucible.
Right.
I'm in a part of that team. Who else have you had on there? I'm trying to rack my brain.
D Amazing was great.
Darius, D Amazing, fantastic.
Yeah, we've had, and then now we're branching out into the fan community. I just had Cloud Foxwell, who I know a lot of people outside of the Cabal.
Episode. Yes,
I know a lot of people outside of the Cabal, or maybe outside of because she's on Dan Who Reviews live streams on Sundays.
And she's been here. She's been in your seat before.
Oh, great!
Early on.
Fantastic. She's going to be a part of AWOK. We've already reached out to her, and she's going to be a part of the tribe. So she's going to come on our tribe show. So yeah, it's just these are people that I've loved to like watch over the last 10 to 15, 20 years on YouTube, and I have mad respect and love for them, and I wanted to reach out. And it's kind of funny because we sort of like look at these people as sort of like celebrities in our world, and they're so easy just to approach and reach out to, and they're all like, nobody has told me no. I've had Trevor Williams shoots 1/6 shooters, so he shoots for you guys. He shoots for Sparrow. He also shoots for Mythic Legions and a couple of others, for Zeta Girls. And so I want to have more people on like that. I'm trying to get Robo. I'm trying to get Dan Larson. Like I'm going big. Nobody has told me no yet. So I'm super stoked. I feel like the sky's the limit. I can really reach out to anybody, and as long as we can coordinate schedules, everybody's been super gracious about doing it. So I'm really excited.
That's the beauty of this community, right? Like I feel like people are generally accessible, and you know, as fans, like that's what kind of why I do this show, Mark. Like seriously, it's like it's an opportunity to basically bring people on and do like show and tell, and let's like talk about all the geeky stuff we have, make new friends, you know, like put a you know, make a connection beyond just me watching people's videos, and hopefully like, you know, turn people on to some other things that maybe they weren't aware of and other people they weren't aware of. So I think that's great. So Saturday Morning Toy Collector's been around. The Tribe, the AWOK fan show. Let's definitely get into that. But first, let's say hello to all the wonderful people that are joining us live today. So hello to all of you all. First off, I know you know this guy, Brian Carr, saying, "Hey, Brick and Mark, he was with you, a member of the Tribe show, which is awesome." This one, can I just say, like, Tiffany Mythic Dolphin, I feel like is single-handedly like supporting all indie toys with like championing Kickstarters and everything. So here we go. Thank you so much. Yes, she's breaking it down already, and I'm going to go ahead and pin this because that's what we're going to talk about soon. Yet another Tribe member, Tribe with a capital T. Like, we're all Tribe members if you love AWOK, but the Tribe, Rob Zamora. What's going on, Rob? Hope you're doing good. You looked a little sleepy this morning, my friend.
El Sleepy Zorro.
I was telling him, man, come on, you West Coast lightweight. We got Josh Brown. To be clear, not just any Josh Brown, but Josh Brown of Josh Brown Customs. He is present here. Larry's Geeky World is here. Hello. Favorite toy people. You're so kind, Larry. You're awesome. I love seeing you here. Eric Dryja. Hello. Fresh from, I saw you earlier in the chat with Adam. Sath. What's up, Amateur Hour? Sath. Hello. Jeff Evans is here. Man, they're all like showing up in support.
Also known as J.M. Evans.
Yes. Who might have won something today?
I didn't know.
I know.
Yeah, we were having so many trouble. Like, I was having so much trouble trying to get my that tool to work, and but yeah, I didn't even know that was him. So didn't even know he had entered.
You didn't catch that when he was like, "You sure you can't do that again?"
That's when I was like, "Oh, that's why you asked if I could run it again." Yeah. So listen, all three are going out next week. We're going to be doing a giveaway next week. We're gonna
so we'll talk about the AWOK Tribe, but hey, folks, if you didn't catch that, they're giving away stuff. They're giving away some of the best toys for my money that are out there right now. Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, some classics too. Darth Primus is here. Hello, Sith.
Happy
Bay
Sunday.
Area trio, awesome bassist. No, sorry, Primus, Darth. Never mind. Ray Pods, what's up? Hello, Ray. Peace. The Vaz Zone is here. Hello, Adrian. Hello, Tiffany. Hey, this guy, Julius Downey. I love that name because Julius is the street I grew up on. Downey was the city I grew up on, and this guy was for the longest time in the same bedroom. It's my brother. Oh man, the Tribe triggered. Oh no, I totally get it. I totally get that. But yes, let's see. And of course, Kenzo of Kenzo's Creations. Hello. Good to see you, Kenny. All right. Let's go ahead and do, oh yeah, see, I forget something. I always do this. How do I do this again? Doing too many shows. We go like this. Sweet. I always have to do the Magneto thing. Let's talk about what we've seen. I should do this. Down on that bottom corner, there's a QR code, and you're seeing this URL coming across the bottom. In theory, after every show, I put up the links. I just realized I didn't do it last week. But the links to everything we see, I'm a visual person. And at the end of the day, I want you to go to these places, say hello to the people that we're talking about, go maybe consider pre-ordering, whatever it is, say hello. So use that link. And we are now going to talk about the things that we've seen. And let's go ahead and actually start, since we're talking all about what you do, sir. Let's talk about this new show over on the Saturday Morning Toy Collector channel. This was announced, and I actually talked about it last week, both in Adam's show, and then, on Adam's show, whenever that was, on Monkey Business. We were super excited because you all are doing an Animal Warriors of the Kingdom Tribe show. Folks who watch this know that I'm a big fan. And that's actually how Adam and I met. from Highly Articulated, we were just like, why aren't more people talking about this amazing toy line? This was like right around the Kickstarter, the Primal Kickstarter, effectively the first Kickstarter for the current figures was happening. And we're just like, hey man, how come we don't see enough? Where's all the content? And so that's how we started. That was a couple years back. And then we met each other. We're like, oh, you do content too. Let's start doing a show together. And slowly we see things grow. But to see you all and other folks have jumped in, like Kato and Inutabi were doing a show for a while. Like it's so needed. It's a I say still brand new indie toy line, even though they've been around. To a lot of people, it's like, it's just not on folks' radar. And you guys are doing, I think, something especially cool because you're actually really highlighting the fan community. So here is the show, The Tribe. And the idea is today was episode 1. And you're going to do like you said, balancing between live and pre-recorded. But next week, you're doing another live show. Then from there, we're talking every 2
weeks after next week. Yeah. Okay. So we really wanted to kick off this week. We had a lot of content ready. Everybody was ready. And we also were really hoping to get Jason or Derek or somebody from the show. They were very much into it. And I think they were like, well, we can do it next week. But we had so much stuff ready to go. And I was like, okay, well, let's just go ahead and do it. Let's go. Let's put it out there. Let's work out all the kinks, which thankfully, that happened. And you know, we'll have them on next week. And then we have a lot of really good friends. Some of us were like actually involved with that. Like Brian Carr was on New to Mythics, Greg Smurber's show right before our show. It's like 9 to 12 or something like that. And we really don't want to bump into that. So we were like, all right, well, we'll go live this Sunday. We'll do it. And then next Sunday when Jason or Derek or whoever can come on. And then next Sunday won't be the New to Mythics because they do every 2 weeks. And so then we'll be on our regular schedule. So it'll be every 2 weeks.
And really the best way to do it, folks, is to head over to the AWOK Tribe over on IG, follow, and I'm assuming they'll do a post like they did today for like, hey, we're watching, and a story. Okay, so just as an example of what they do, they are gathering, you know, I'm assuming based on today, they're going to have folks talk about maybe their favorite figures. They're going to talk about their best sort of AWOK related piece of either, whether it's news or custom stuff or fan stuff that they saw. And just as an example, because it is a show by fans, right? Sometimes it means even people on the show like Rob get highlighted because he just did this custom, which I barely saw on Facebook. Was it yesterday or maybe even this morning? I forget. I'm rarely on Facebook. And man, this was his custom with all those like wild wraps. And that was my initial comment. I'm a soft goods fan, especially good soft goods. And there's like little twine kind of wrapped around these things, but you still see sort of the fingers coming through.
Yeah, he based this on a panel from the comic book where Pale was, boxing, and he had the wraps around his hands. He was training. I thought that was brilliant. I think the cape came from one of the Greyborn from Cosmic Legions, I believe. I'm not sure where the pants were. That the necklace he made from Thrace from Mythic Legions, and then the beads were like from a hobby store. And I think he told me that that's a onyx body that he just did a silver dry brush on the arms and the fur to get that two-tone body. Yeah, it's great. But yeah, we really want to keep it fan focused and focused on the community. So we every week we're each going to pull like one of our favorite images from people's posts. We're actually asking people to we didn't get a chance to talk about this. That's my fault. But we want to ask people if they tag their photos with the AWOK 25 or the AWOK Tribe 25. I'll have to go back and check.
The photo collab. Yep.
Yeah, and then we'll know like what to pull from, because there's a lot of really good, talented like photographers and customizers out there who I don't think their stuff shows up as much as like people who do like Marvel Legends or Mythic Legions or things like that. So,
as the person who, in theory, is updating the Kickstarter page every Wednesday, what I started doing a couple months back was actually trying to show the photo collab posts every week on
Mhm.
Wednesdays. That's a great place because like that's an example of the growth of the tribe. When that started, there were like a handful, maybe 2-3 photographers, and now there's like a bunch of them jumping in every week. And you get it's cool because they'll do straight up like they do straight up like themes and everything. And so I correct myself. Sorry, I did say when you said AWOK Tribe 25, I mixed it up. So there's AWOK Collab 52, right? As in weeks in the year, and that's the photo collab. And then I was going to show Rob's thing, but thank you, Jeff Evans, for jumping in.
I had a typo in.
Typos. Hashtag AWOK Tribe 25 is what you all are going to ask folks to do to so that you can they can quickly sort of see what's going on with the fan community, and you can pull some great content for the show.
25 being that's this year, and next year we'll probably go to 26, and then that way we can we're not pulling old images and things like that. But yeah, we want to be able to spotlight and look, we're not I want to make it very clear too, like we're not trying to like bump out the collab guys, or we're not trying to like invade Facebook and like take over the like there's already like a great Facebook group, the House of AWOK.
Sure,
we want to partner with these people. We don't want to like there's enough room here for everybody. And so we're not going to start a Facebook group at all. Like we're just there's already one, so we're just gonna go with that.
I appreciate that thought. It has come up a couple because people like I think Rob reached out and like there was this question of like, hey, you guys okay with this? He didn't exactly say that, but like the more the merrier, and that's what I was saying. It's like this is what AWOK needs, and brands like AWOK need. Like we don't have Spiro doesn't have the same sort of reach as G.I. Joe Classified, Hasbro, Mattel, right? We don't have the sort of built-in a way of reaching folks. Even the Cabal, right? We know Mythic Legions has been building up for a long time, a decade now, and as such, they have this basically installed user base. Like news comes out, everybody knows. Spiro, it's ground level. It's grassroots, and like that initially, remember like when I was talking about the Kickstarter, when Adam and I started stuff, it was like, where is everybody? We wanted more people, so we're like, okay, well, I guess we'll start it. So all this notion of us stepping on each other's toes, and like, no, it's all good. Like we're all fans of this thing. So my whole thing is like, when we can, let's collaborate, let's build it up because Spiro 100% needs it. Derek Chandler over at Spiro's like got this, idea. He was the first to like think about this idea of like, hey, this idea of the tribe and gather the tribe. Whenever they do shows, they try and do like a tribe photo of it, all AWOK fans, and gather in front of the booth and take a picture. Like there's all this effort. So I'm glad you all are around. I kind of wish Cato's show was still sort of around. That was like that first podcast. They've since broadened it to sort of Indie Toys, which is awesome. But like AWOK centric stuff, super important. So
yeah,
I'm holding
and this video you're showing here. That's a pose video that I did, and I've done 2 now that feature AWOK figures. The first one I did was like the new Jackal figure from the newest wave, and I did that because I almost never see people do pose videos with Spiro toys, with AWOK. And since I do a lot on my TikTok and post them on Instagram and YouTube under shorts. And once I started doing these, I've actually had people reach out to me and they're like, okay, I didn't know that they posed that well. And I'm like, I know. That's why I put them in with my Marvel Legends or my Mafex or now they're not Mafex level, they're not SH Figure Arts level, but that's what those guys are meaning to do. Like they're setting out to make the world's most articulated version of whatever, Daredevil, Spider-Man, whatnot. And I'm like, but they pose very well. They've got double joints everywhere. They have good crunch. Like that's why I put this in, was to show people like you can actually have a lot of fun with these guys.
Agreed. I love these things, and when I can, and they're buttery. They're like, this is we call it hand candy. Same thing with like Street Fighter Jada, that vibe you get off that and how cool they are. That's how I feel about these. All in like an indie toy package, folks. Anyway, excellent pose video, but also like dope on the cape and the guns, right?
Oh
Those
my
are some
gosh.
of my favorite weapons in the
Yeah.
line. So
Well, we just don't see it enough, you know. Like everybody thinks that the Warriors they have swords and knives and bows, but I'm like, they also got guns. It's a really
they
good
do.
blend. Like, not
They
many
do.
people have really captured that that sword and sorcery and sci-fi vibe that He-Man pulled
Mhm.
off so perfectly. Like, it's such a perfect balance. But I
Yep.
love that they're doing it and they're giving it a shot. And I love that. Like, 'cause that's a good vibe. That if you can pull it off, then yeah, it's going to work out. I love soft goods on these guys. I have this cape I
Mhm.
always show off with my Vero Atlas. And
Ah,
I think,
yes.
like, if anybody over at Sparrow was going to ask me my opinion would be add soft goods, because when you throw a cape on
Oh,
these guys,
oh, they're there, friend. They're there.
that's
They're
sweet.
coming.
Good deal.
And oh my gosh, why am I blanking right now? If Adam's in the chat or anybody else, remember, I'm so blanking on the name of but with the birds, we're getting soft goods.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Yeah, no, and I'm trying to remember who is working on them, and my brain is totally blanking. If folks remember, please let us know. Yeah, no, more so who's making them, Adam, if you remember. But Raving is going to be the first with soft goods, and it's
That's good to
oh
hear.
my god, I feel so bad because dude is super talented, and I'm just having one of those days. Thank you, Eric Harker Studios. Yes,
Nice.
you know how this morning
Look,
you were
I tell
saying
you. Oh yeah, exactly. I know when it goes
about testing your
off the rail.
memory. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
dude,
was like,
it's
I
tough.
feel you, Mark. I feel you.
I'm 48, man. That memory's starting to go. It's starting
Same
to
here.
go. But no,
76,
huh? Yeah, 76 is
1976.
yeah, I was born in
Same
March.
here, friend.
Nice. Yeah.
Right.
Soft goods make I don't know what it is, but like the minute you throw a cape or a cloak or something, or like Rob did with the pants or even the gloves, like there's just
Yep.
something, it just brings them to life, man. It just takes them up to that next level, and they
Yep.
just look so incredibly good.
Okay, so I know this totally sounds like a commercial. We'll get to commercials in a second, but first, soft goods, 100% agree, adds to, I would say, argue most storylines. Brian Carr is pointing out, once people get AWOK in hand, they will become tribe members. They are just too fun. Absolutely. I think Rob and the sort of like spiral that he went through in November and December is evidence of that. That was it. Like, he's like, wait, what are these? Like, once he got his hands on, it's like, where can I get more? And he went hard, which is awesome. So commercials. Before we get to know these folks, I actually I should probably pay some bills if that's okay. So let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages. Yeah.
We'll return after these messages.
Lexion stalks the jungle for bounties. Hey, who goes there? Oh no, Emperor Kali's up to no good. You won't get the drop on me, Tiberius. You won't escape us this time, Kali. Ah! Oh no, Vero Atlas is casting a spell. Not if I can help it. Huh! The Animal Warriors saved the day.
Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, Lexion, Tiberius, Vero Atlas, and Kali, each sold separately by Sparrow.
Now, back to our program.
Thank you.
Oh man.
If you enjoyed that 80s throwback, that's the kind of beautiful retro energy you'll get over on the Saturday Morning Toy Collector. Can you explain to them what that awesome commercial we just saw was?
Yeah, like I wanted to do something special. Look, I did not create the AWOK tribe show by myself. It was not done in a vacuum. It was a whole bunch of us. We had a Legions collector chat, and a bunch of us were like AWOK fans, and we didn't want to clog the feed with that, so we kind of broke off and started our own little sub chat called the Tribe, and that Rob created for us. And I thought that was brilliant. And there's like 6 or 7 of us in this conversation, and that's how we all decided to go from a chat group to a live show. But when we decided that we were going to go for a live show, I thought, man, these toys really feel like 80s toys to me. They really do feel like, you know, Masters of the Universe or Thundercats. And so I started thinking, I was like, you know what? Because one of the things that Greg and I do, Greg Smurber, on our Double Jointed episode every week is we on every Saturday morning we go through some old toy commercials, and we look at these old commercials, because man, if you grew up in the 80s, man, like their toy commercials were so dope. They were some of the best, worst toy commercials on the planet. And I was like, man, wouldn't it be great if we had a Sparrow Toys Animal Warriors of the Kingdom like retro commercial? And so I started thinking about like, what would it look like? Who would I include? Like some of my favorite figures, like what was the vibe? Because I watch these 80s commercials all the time. I'm constantly looking at them throughout the week to like pull obscure ones or some of my favorites. And then I was like, well, how would, I'm shooting on a phone that's shooting in 8K. How do I make that? How does my 8K camera on my phone or whatever, like, how do I make it look like an old CRT TV? And I found some really cool After Effects tutorials about how to pull that off. And I, got the music together. I found it on like creative licensing on YouTube that, that could be used. And then I asked my 11-year-old if he would do it. And he was like, dude, Dad, this is so cringe. And I was like, I set him down in front of YouTube, which is like his favorite place to be anyway. And I'm like, look at these commercials. Like, this is the vibe we're going for. And like, he was like, I don't know, Dad. But then he got into it and he really loved it. And he was like, no, let me do that take again. Let me do it again. And then now he's like, I'm a professional voice actor, y'all. Like, this is what we're doing. And so, he cracks me up. He does that, like all the time now. He'll walk by me and he'll just do it. And it was so much fun. And I knew that we had to like have some sort of trap with like sticks or rocks rolling because every commercial had that, Exactly. So I went out
when I saw that today, I was like,
I started cutting tree limbs down and I was
beautiful.
like, oh, this could be, and it was just a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun putting it together. And I mean, the space you see at the end, like where the figures are displayed, like that's where I do my reviews. And so, I mean, it was just like, I had to pull that vibe because, you're my age. Like if I'm ever down, I get on YouTube and I just watch 80s toy commercials and it makes me
go to your happy place, grab a bowl of cereal.
That's my mind castle. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to pause it right before the logo comes on because I can't get it, but like right there, that's it. That spot. Just
that's my review space.
But with the little text and everything, the little like, down
at the bottom it says each sold separately, Sparrow Toys, 1985.
Yeah. And that cross set, like I would love to get a little catalog again, remember, and just sort of like look at all the figures and so this is great. And
somebody sent me a link where you can look at every Sears catalog. The toy, somebody, I don't remember who that was, but I have that link somewhere and you literally can just click by year and like go down and look all of the toy catalogs that came out that year. And it is so much fun.
Yeah, Allison, Retro Toy Princess does an awesome thing where she'll like go through old sort of like pack in catalogs and stuff, and it's super fun. So folks, love the commercial. Where was it? Like right here, Michael Miller saying that's fun, dude. This commercial is dope. Like it absolutely brings us back. Great job on that. And Jason also, like that's very much his vibe, as you picked up on. This line is very much has sort of 1 foot in, current, highly posable, awesome articulation, super detailed sculpts, while also having that retro cartoon Saturday morning vibe. It's fun. Like it's both badass and fun. And he's also done commercials, like for different things. Like when there was the board game, there was like a bunch of friends sitting around putting out the pieces. Like, so this whole vibe is cool. I do like the CRT touch. So well done on that, sir.
Yeah, I saved the preset, so I think we want to do another one soon. Yeah, my son was already asking me, are we going to do any more? And I'm like, oh yeah, I think we're going to do some more.
So let's definitely look at who all will be sort of on the show, on the tribe. So this is Rob Zamora, and he is the assassin of House Fearless. You hit me up about this. You want to break down story-wise, like what your thinking was behind these photos?
Yeah, so we found out that you can actually do some really cool AI photos right inside of Facebook or Instagram, since it's the same company. Inside of the chat, like in the messenger, you can activate this secret little thing I don't think a lot of people know about. You just go into your messenger and you shoot a message to Meta AI, and then you just say you take a couple of pictures And then you say, imagine me as a warrior in the forest. You know, imagine me as Batman. Imagine me as a superhero. Imagine me. Imagine is like the keyword to make this happen. And so it kicked off, and you know, I figured out how to do it, and then I sent it to everybody. I was like, dude, we should do a bunch of these to intro ourselves in the Instagram. And so yeah, I was like, everybody come up with something that they want to do. Maybe it's reflective of what you do as a job in the real life, but it doesn't have to be. Everybody pick a house, you know, whatever's your favorite house. So Rob was the first one. He did a few more after this that were way better, and I wish I should have updated them because they were really good. But I mean, Rob he's the handsome one of our group. You know, we always say if GQ comes a calling, he's the one we're going to send out for the interview. Look at that. That's Vilo. That's Ventimiglia, you know, that actor. That's who that is. Milo Ventimiglia.
Of Hero and This Is Us fame, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. So Rob, he's the assassin of House Feralist for sure. Rob will be on there as many times as he can. Rob is also handling all of our scheduling for people like guests and stuff on the show. Terrence St. John, who you guys may know from the Cabal, super awesome, swell dude. Terrence, he's the strategist of House Wolftorn. He is very much high level thinking. He is the guy that's like, hey, we should do this. How about this? What did you guys think about this? And most of the time he's coming up with stuff that I never thought of, just because I'm like, yeah, let's make it look pretty. I'm an artist. I'm a designer. So I end up doing all the design work. So I'm like, I'll make it look pretty. You guys come up with some ideas and I'll make it happen.
So you're the scout, is that right? Of House Wolftorn?
Yeah, I'm the one. I love that it gives me glasses. Who doesn't want like an elf warrior, you know, with glasses? You can see so much.
And if
better.
Those who may not be familiar, so each one of them is sort of a member and representative of a different one of the great houses or a faction within the lore of Animal Wars of the Kingdom, which I love.
Yeah. Apparently,
how did you decide who's who? Was there something that you based on personality, or do you like to fly around?
Everybody came up with their own themselves. I just said, you know, what house do you identify with? What do you like? What's your favorite house?
Got it.
And so I just was, I think a couple of us picked House Wolftorn. It sounds really cool. So I'm the scout. I'm always out looking for something new to do, new to create, something new to get into. So definitely had to shout out Endless Fables. I just saw him pop up. Yeah. I'm a scout with glasses. I love it. My wife thinks this. She's like, why can't you keep your beard that nice? I go, I don't know. That's because that's AI. That's why. That's.
And then Andy, the toy collector. What's up,
man?
Andy?
We love Andy so much. We call him awesome. Andypedia, because this guy, he knows so much stuff. So Andy is the knowledge holder. He's the scroll warden of House Horrid. He tried his best to get on today, but he just recently moved, basically cross country. He's in a new spot this weekend. He moved last weekend. And so he was having some internet issues. We're going to get that worked out because we need Andy to join us next week, because anytime we're in the chat on Saturday morning and we're like, what happened? Like, who did this? Where did this come out? Andy knows. He's like, that came out in 1983 and it had this, that, and the other. And I'm like, man, dude's he's on it.
Yep. Andy is a great guy. So much heart for sure.
Yep. He's the heart of our tribe.
Rob Zamora has a lore related question. He wanted, he wanted to be part of the Pirate Guild, and you should have, because he's asking, is it actually a faction or house? Doesn't matter, man. Rogue, be a pirate. It's punk rock. And then is that, nope, that's not it. There's two more. We've got Jeff. We've got Jeff
JM Evans,
House Verenide. He likes the cold-blooded.
That's right. He does. And he's right. Those upcoming reptiles look amazing. He's a scribe. He takes notes. He's a note taker. This guy is always paying attention. He may be quiet. He may not think he's paying attention, but he's on it. And he keeps us straight. He's always like, oh yeah, here's the link for this. Here's that link. Did somebody forget? Like, I'm like, where's the hashtag for this? Jeff's got it. He keeps up. Like, he and Andy, they work hand in hand with keeping us straight with the info. He's always quick with it.
Love that. And by the way, Jason always sort of pronounces it Verandi. So I don't know if you caught that when I was sending you the link, the names, and you're asking about the houses, and I'm like, I had to put like this/this spelled differently. That's because Jason sometimes has a good time with spelling and pronunciation. So That's his way of saying it's like Star Wars. It's Han, it's Han, it's Leia, it's Leia. Sometimes you have a British accent, sometimes you don't. Have fun. Last but not least, part of the tribe crew is Brian, Ranger of House Pacadine.
And I misspelled Pacadine. Yeah, that's on me.
No,
that's my fault.
Well, again,
I'm
sure it was spelled like that by Jason at one point in time in public. So you're good.
I'm pretty sure I screwed it up, but he's the Brian's our ranger. He's the first one who realized you could put an owl on my shoulder in the profile image, would put it there. But yeah, he wanted an eagle because he's in Philadelphia, and but he was like, yeah, I'm gonna go with an owl. So he's the bean counter. He is he pushes the numbers, and he's always watching. He's always got his eagle eye out, as I like to say. So yeah, that's Brian, and he loves the House Pacadine. Look at that! Look at those eyes. That steely gaze.
Both he and the owl are focused on something that they're about to pounce on. One quick thing, I just want to bring this up, and I'm Action Figure Girl is saying, quiet. Just want to throw that in there. I don't know if that's a hint at domestic struggle or what. So it's cool. We're going to be doing, again, next Sunday, on the Saturday Morning Toy Collector channel. Check out the next episode of The Tribe. Join the IG. Follow them at the AWOK Tribe so that you can stay posted. And then from there, every other week. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I love it. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Let's continue with the AWOK thing real quick, because you talked about this today, and I really appreciated that reminder. If you were curious about these, as you know, as we all know, there are new figures coming. I think it was Kenzo up here saying like he can't wait for the new figures because yeah, they'll be coming, and we've talked about it on this channel before, and on Adam's kind of breaking down the schedule. But in the meantime, there's a lot of great figures for sales, and as Jason's been trying to let people know, the stock is going down, at least from what they have in hand. At the end of the day, warehouse needs to be cleared. It's only so much space because there are about to be more and more figures. So this is your opportunity to get some good figures at $25. That's at Mety Toyz, sweet spot, right? For now, and we'll get to that. But there's this figure that's almost gone. The here we go again. The Chunari Legionnaire. Here we got Kali, which I voted for earlier this morning on their show as being the one to get because he's the villain, and like I was saying, he's smug AF in his face there, but I just love this armor.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, one of a kind. Like the head to toe build, you don't see. You see parts of it in other figures, but I really love this figure. Then you've got Tiberius in his adult form. If you've been reading the comic books, you might have caught that he's a little bit younger there, but kind of an interesting story to tell. You got your hero, which I also agree with Rob, is like a must-have, $25, almost gone. If you want this original version of him, there's also the body paint one, the Red Hot Chili Peppers music video one. This is the horrid. What was this again? The
Ravager.
Ravager, yeah, horrid Ravager, which was actually for the longest time. I ended up getting two of these. I love these figures. I'm a sucker for the mandrill nose. $25. Atreyu. I love this guy too. Yep. So go grab those folks. Whatever they're going to be going soon. You can find great deals online. Well worth checking out. And thank you to the tribe. Let's move on to a line that I know you and I both also love, and that's Mythic Legions. Mythic Legions. Here, real quick. The person who actually manages the store and does all the logistics and is well aware of the inventory, Pale, is the one that's about to sell out with a nice wink. So great. I love it. A lot of folks are looking at these figures. Yeah, I think I picked up. Oh, go ahead. Oh, only just Travis loves his lore. He said, did you say Kali is one of a kind? Play on lore there. Not intentional, but if you're reading the lore, I think that's a great comment. Thank you for that.
I like that's a nice catch.
What were you gonna say?
Nice catch. Oh, I was just gonna say that yeah, that's what happened with me was that I had a couple of AWOK in hand that had been sent to me for review from Steve over at Articulated Empire, and I just had a few, and I wasn't gonna go in on a new line, but then I ordered Vero Atlas just on a whim from Big Bad Toy Store because I had him in stock for $35. And I got him in hand and I was like, oh boy, that did it. This one was the one that opened the floodgates. And then it was right around the holidays. And I went in and they were having like this big warehouse cleaning sale. And like, I think within like a 3-week period, I think I must have ordered, I know that they have like about 25 figures out. I think I ordered like 15 or 17 figures within like a 3-week period. And I was just like, I got everybody except for the 2 great apes, and that's the only 2 I'm missing. And I have everything else, like every weapons pack, every armor pack, every head pack. Like I went all in.
Very nice. And I hate to send you further down, but there are now 3 apes. But
oh well, I have Tanger. I got him, but I don't have
there's
the other
Tanger.
2.
There's
Okay.
no, you're all good. Oh my gosh, Thane. Am I getting old? Yes, the answer is yes. But Pale's dad. Gosh,
Okay.
I'm getting old. And there is also an army builder on the Horrid side.
Oh,
Just so you
okay.
FYI. But yes, it is Thane. Thank you. See, Rob is young and youthful and gorgeous. So and then see, look, everybody is Thane, and then there's the brute. Yes.
Yeah.
So heads up. Let's talk Bay. Let's talk back the Bay. Where is that? Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Brian. Beyithirr. Folks know about it. Not going to spend too much time. $550 the price tag for the base thing, the base dragon, which you're sort of seeing here in this picture. They need to make $2,000. It's a crowd. Sorry. They need to sell 2,000 units or get people to pre-order 2,000 of them in order for this thing to go into production. In addition, there are some stretch goals. So there's this figure, Sir Benegar, who will be unlocked at 2,500. And then you'll get all the pieces in here, including this beautiful Safkas and alt head, if they get to 3,000.
I want that to happen so bad.
It would be really sad if it doesn't. But I actually really am not worried about it at all. They'll hit
not
the
either.
4,000.
I think they're going to make it really good. Yeah.
When they get to the 4,000, you'll also get a burned crispy skeleton at 3,500 with additional pieces at 4,000. So that's the highest stretch goal as of right now. Jeremy has gone on record and said, kind of opened up. There's like, that's all we have planned. However, if we get further than that, if we need to, they're open to rethinking it. And that's something they have done on their Kickstarters in the past, but there's only so much pre-planning you can do before it gets a little presumptuous, right? In case something might not get made. But of course, in addition to that, you can add on the Fiery Breath set for 150, which has its own sort of threshold of 1,000 units in order to fund. Will come with this awesome Ring of Fire tongue to replace that tongue with a fire, and probably, I would argue, one of the most exciting little additions in this piece is another figure unlocked once 1,250 people order this accessory pack. You get a burning flaming knight, which is wild.
Looks incredible.
And then there's an additional accessory add-on set, and that's the big old flying wings, which again would need to sell 1,000 units of in order to go into production. And it includes another crispy character, but this time a zombie, which, by the way, I just have been playing with the undead pack, which is basically like the same head and same arms.
Yeah.
Gorgeous figure. Awesome set.
I just got it in myself. I haven't opened it yet, but it looks, I can't wait. It was my number 2 most anticipated figure in the Necro wave for sure.
Yeah, I was saying like I kind of forgot because this was like 2 years ago when Necro came out. I was throwing stuff in. I didn't go all in at the time, so I was trying to remember what I had singles of and doubles of. And then the thing comes in. I was like, oh yeah, there's that thing. And man, and I take that little aside because that happens every single time with any of my 4 Horsemen figures, right? You're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I'm kind of interested in it. Kind of forgot. And then you open it up, you're like, oh my God, this thing's like the most amazing thing in the world.
Yeah.
You look at the detail, you look at the sculpt, you look at the paint. And with those 1.0 figures, like it also, I was reminded of like, oh, I love how this guy moves too, right? You know, and so that's what's going to happen with this dragon when it gets made, and when in roughly 18 months is their target, it gets made. A lot of the conversations that are maybe happening right now around cost, and even some people questioning if it's worth it or not. I have never once been like, you open up a Legions, whether it's cosmic, figure obscure, or mythic, and been like, man, this thing is so not worth the money. Like,
Why did I
you
buy
see,
this? Yeah, that's never happened.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you were there at Legions Con, so you saw this thing in person.
Yeah.
So let's so that's kind of the breakdown of it. Let's just take a couple minutes just to kind of talk about the reaction so far. First off, I do want to acknowledge I've seen a definite excitement. You know, a lot of folks coming out of the announcement in November were just like, oh my God, I can't believe we're finally getting the dragon. I was in the room, I think like row 3 or 4, with my brother, and the energy was like, you felt it in the room, right?
I've only seen it in videos. I wasn't at G-Con,
Okay.
and I didn't get to go to intern. I hope to one day. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, I wasn't there yet. I was traveling that day on Friday, but I did get to see it in person. I did get to handle like the what they call the butter dragon. I have pictures of me holding its head. I mean, it fits in the palm of my hand, which is crazy. Yeah, it's a massive thing. Seeing it in pictures is not the same as seeing it in person. It's insane seeing it in person. But yeah, I remain stoked. The excitement is even better now, seeing all the stuff they have planned to come with it. It's incredible. Knowing that he is sorry, it's been a long day. Knowing that he is the pillar of the West, and you know, assuming that we're going to get the other pillars, north, south, and east. I have no idea where I would ever put. I don't know where I'm going to put this guy, but let alone 3 more. So I'm glad that, you know, that the a green dragon was the first one out at the gate. Is I'm because if you only ever get one, then you're probably going to want your standard green dragon. Not that anything about this guy is standard, but yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get any more unless I have an increased amount of space somewhere one day. But this may be the only dragon I ever get, and it's incredible. It looks gorgeous. I did the base dragon and the flame effect add-on, the flame neck and head fiery set. I didn't do the wings simply because I don't know with the wings extended where this would go. It's just too much. It's too big. But yeah, I'm super excited for this. This looks incredible. This is probably one of the most detailed, sculpted, painted things I've ever seen in my life. Like, and if you'd have told 13-year-old Mark or 10-year-old Mark that he would have a 6-inch scale dragon, like when he's older, I wouldn't believe you. There's no way.
You 100% are ripping the words out of my brother. This is my brother. He's saying it's perfect. That was us in conversation during the thing and after, and between November and this weekend when they finally kicked off the campaign, of just like, you know, this is one of those things that is, if you are into Mythic Legions and into the lore, it's critical in terms of like this world, not even like, oh, a character, like in terms of the formation and existence of the entire world, as one of the pillars, but also like it's universal. It's a dragon. It's a big green dragon that breathes fire that could go up against any of these figures, right? And look awesome on your shelf. You know, if you're a D&D person, if you're just a high fantasy person in general, like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever watched a cartoon, right? Or a Disney movie or two. Like the idea of this is there. Smog from Tolkien. So there have been attempts at dragons, right? Hasbro, for their movie recently, for the D&D movie, they did release a dragon, but relatively small and no shade at all, but it's a Hasbro at retail, you know, mass production toy. This is simultaneously a toy and a piece of art, like a lot of their things are. So I will say that there have been some posts recently of like folks just saying some things that strike me as odd, in terms of like not even like slightly negative or questioning the price or whatever, but like it's just really like out of pocket and angry. Like I saw one the other day that was like essentially like saying, Four Horsemen, rethink what the way you do business, because you're doing something really horrible. And I'll kind of generalize it at that because of the price. They're just saying like, this is crazy, like $1,000. And I don't know.
Or people saying that they hope it fails, like
and that too.
Even that is completely out of pocket. I mean, okay, so it's not for you. That's great.
Right.
But why would you not want somebody else to get something that they want? Like, for your hatred to be so great for something that you want to keep other people from enjoying it just is, it's beyond me. I don't get it. I love Transformers, but I've never backed a single Transformer HasLab. One, they're huge, and besides Unicron, typically they're such obscure characters that I have no idea what they are, but I want them to succeed. I want Transformers fans to have those. Like, you
mean you've never gone in a chat and said, this is horrible, I'm not going to get it, so you shouldn't either? That was not your tendency?
No, man.
It's
that's
so
just not how I
man.
am.
It's so odd.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I just don't understand posts like that, but it is what it is. I honestly, I don't think they're out of pocket for the price. I think what they're asking, the quantities that they're, 2,000, that's I think it was when I was watching the Friday night reveal special with Jeremy and Eric from Four Horsemen. They were saying they set everything as low as possible because they want to see it made.
Yep.
They want to see this become a reality and be out in the world. And so that's why it's set so low. Do I think that it is going to, come in at, the bare minimum number that they're asking? No, I think they're going to get way more than that because, fans have been wanting this for a while, but especially if they're taking this out to other shows and they get it in front of people who are not in the Cabal, that are not Mythics fans or are not that familiar with Mythics, I think they're going to, if they can break through to a wider audience, I think it's going to do really, really, really well. And so far, I've seen a lot of the toy sites that I look at like daily, pushing it and talking about it and keeping it in front of people. And that's good. I hope that continues for the next month. But if you'll indulge me for a second, I did do some research last night because I got to thinking about, some of these comments. And when you and I were talking about what we were going to talk about, I was like, well, I'm actually super interested to see, like, because I have partaken in some of these crowdfunds before. And so I was just like looking at like, just for people who think maybe they're asking too much money. And that as a company, they would make too much money, if it hit all these milestones, right? So, going back and looking at, HasLab. All right, so let's look at HasLab. All right, HasLab, their Omega Prime was their most successful Transformer. They were selling that for $250. They made over $7 million on that. Marvel Legends, their most successful one was Galactus at $400, so comparable price point. They made over $11 million with the number of backers that thing ended up with.
Minus, of course, production, just to be clear.
Sure.
Yes.
Absolutely. Like, if you just look at the base cost versus the number of backers, that's how much. I don't know how much of that was spent on producing the figure.
Right. And I just want to name that because that matters a lot for a company the size of Four Horsemen as compared to Hasbro. But anyways, keep going. This is great.
Absolutely. And like, again, like I don't know like how much it costs to produce any of these items. And I'm not saying this is their net profit. I'm just saying based on what the items sold for and how many backers they had, right? So the G.I. Joe Sky Striker did great. $230, made over almost $4 million, 3.8. The Star Wars Ghost, most successful Star Wars HasLab. And they've had some pretty unsuccessful ones.
I was going to say,
the Ghost sold for $500, and with the number of backers they made almost $11 million. It's 10.8. Now we're getting into some of the bigger stuff, right? So Super 7, the Thundercats Cat Slayer, $650. So a little bit more than this guy. They made almost $3 million on that.
Yep.
The He-Man Eternia playset, which I do have directly behind me, I was a part of this. $550 came in at the exact same price point as this dragon. They made a little over $5 million. And
Yep.
one of the best ones was the original McFarlane Spawn, the one they did the Kickstarter on a couple of years ago. That thing was selling for $40, and he made $2.5 million on that figure alone, which is insane to think about. And then here, if we look at the base dragon and what its basic, milestones are, the 4,000 or the 2,000, the 3,500, and then the 2 add-on sets. If it sells, then we're looking at, they're probably going to come in at the base minimum, of pre-orders. They're looking at 550, 5.5 million. That puts it just above the Eternia playset and just below the Omega Prime in the hierarchy of all of those playsets. So I don't think that it is outside of that realm of I think it is right there where it needs to be.
Oh yeah,
And
it's by no means like extraordinary in that landscape. And let's be real, so I think some of the people who are responding to this might also respond negatively to some of those, right? So
probably, yeah.
At
least I hope they would have.
But I appreciate that sort of breakdown, because that's kind of like where I like to live. I like to look at data. I like to look at numbers. I like to understand really what's behind these things. I've already sort of established that, like, when you get a Horseman produced figure, it's in a whole other level in terms of the level of paint and sculpt, and like there's just a lot of work and quality that goes into these things. And
Absolutely.
Again, so. Yeah, and I will say some of those HasLabs that you talked about, like, if folks don't realize this, it's not like Hasbro employees, designers, etc., are developing that in-house. They actually go outside and pay a contractor to develop a lot of these things. That's not the case here. The same folks who have to sort of design and develop their regular toy line, that is kind of like the bread and butter of this thing that keeps moving, have decided that we're also going to do this additional extra thing. So the amount of work that's involved in relation to how that might affect the rest of the workload. I was talking with Nate Barch at Legions Con about, like, because I have a design and print background as well. I'm like, hey, this is a whole other beast. This dragon, like, and on top of that, everything else that was revealed at G-Con, I counted a couple of new toy lines, like new lines, like Infinite Legions and all. There's a lot of like new packaging and some decisions that need to be made around, like Cosmic Legions packaging is not the same as Mythic Legions packaging. And then I'm thinking about, like, sitting there imagining with him a little bit, just a couple short conversations, like, yeah, you don't even know yet what the packaging on this hypothetical toy is going to be like. So you don't know how many panels, you don't know how much new artwork you're going to do, right? Like, so it's the same group of people that are making this thing work. So that's why I think it costs what it does. I think other folks in here are understand, like, here's, one perspective comparing it to some of those other things. Nolan's saying the cost for me is roughly the same as Eternia, so the price seems fair. Yeah. Allison, who really has no stake in the game, because I know Allison's not getting it. The price is reasonable for the cost of making this. People have to comprehend boutique toys with high quality sculpting, check, and paint apps, check, are not inexpensive items you could find at that one place.
So true.
Julius Downey, people are weird. Anyone who wants us to fail because they can't have it probably thinks the sun revolves around them. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Frankie
Your brother
Rivera,
and I would get along very well.
Frankie Rivera just does, like, a brass tacks it. Like, at the end of the day, hey, this thing's absolutely gorgeous. It's sexy. Like, what else matters? Ray Paz, it's gorgeous. If I wasn't priced out, I would definitely buy one. My loot is in that level 100%, and I will cry forever on this one. Totally. Larry's Geeky World, if I back the dragon, I would have to display it climbing over the ultimate cat's lair. Which again is a different type of toy. It was up there in terms of price point, but man, that thing is historic as well. Like, we never got that. No one probably ever imagined that we'd get one that size. So, and I think Vazone hits it too. It's a Grail Dragon history of toys. Definitely some toy history. Toy Hunters Hollow. Seen it at ZoloCon last weekend, and it's glorious, definitely. So here's the rub. Frankie breaks it down. If space wasn't an issue, I'd be all over this. And
Right,
spoiler
same.
alert
Yeah.
for anyone who's new, I'm actually not getting it. I want it. I love it. But my issue is space. It's the same deal. As folks know, most of my toys are in my classroom because I have really limited space in a tiny South San Francisco home. My brother's getting one. So as I've said elsewhere, I'm going to probably visit him and hang out with what effectively will be an additional nephew to visit. So
yeah, right. It's like it's both ours, but we just keep it at your house, you know? Yeah, you go and visit it.
Alan, Vine Jungle Figure Factory, can't wait for his dragon. And Alan is not a Mythic Legions guy at all. He's a massive Motu head. He's building a huge Snake Mountain, but like he recognizes the beauty in this thing, even though it's not necessarily a line that he gets.
Yeah. And
anyway,
Trevor had a great comment too. He said they don't even factor in the time it took Eric to sculpt.
Oh
this.
yes,
and,
here.
Yeah.
And
then like the whole idea is like kind of like what you're talking about, how it's being done in house, right? So not only is Eric sculpting this, and they're working out how to make this happen and figure out all of the details of how the knees have to work, or the tail, or the neck, or the head, or whatever. He also has to keep sculpting their other figures for every wave and keep those wheels moving. Like that has to continue. Like this can't slow down any of those processes at all. And they have to keep all the plates spinning. And so, yeah, that's an extremely, a very valid point. They had the time it took to sculpt this.
Totally.
And the production people, Chris, making sure this thing works properly, when, it's in the factory. Yeah. It's just, there's a lot of detail there. It's a lot.
Yeah, this is unprecedented in the line. Sure, they have bigger things like like trolls or whatever, but completely different beast. So there's a lot of engineering, a lot of troubleshooting, like a lot that needs to happen. The production on this in the factory is going to be so different than anything else they've done. J Mac is saying, "Wow, wouldn't a Nate Barch art print included with this been fantastic?" Well, put it out there.
Not off the table.
Put it out there. So. Here, I'll close out the conversation around the Beyithirr with this. Brian Brink is saying, chart for the dragon will be up on GDL, Geek Dad Life, tonight. And if you want more dragon talk, definitely go check out Geek Dad Life tonight. If you're wondering if I had any more thoughts, that'd be a good place to check out too, because I'm going to be hanging out with Jay and Quip tonight, talking all about this dragon as well as other toy news. It's been a while. It's been a minute since I've been there, and I'm happy to be there with now that Quip is officially a co-host. It's my first time there with him officially as a co-host, so that's going to be super fun. All right. There are a couple of other things. Obviously, well, I'll just skip through these. They are going to be posting updates. I don't know. And Trevor, if you can please tell me, I thought I saw, whether it was on the My Wife Is Going to Kill Me podcast this morning or elsewhere, that there has been an update for today. But yesterday this was posted. So this was as of like less than 12 hours really of it being up. This was the first post they shared, which was like, the dragon, they sold about 500 units. The Fiery Breath pack looks like, reading this is a little weird, but close to 500, cleared 250. And then over here, cleared 250 and like maybe around, let's call it 300 or so. Okay. Fire is a weird measurement. But my understanding is that these are going to happen every day. I could have sworn I saw it.
Trevor said, it's up on the site. Yeah.
I checked earlier. I probably missed it, but I will go there again and make sure we see that tonight on Geek Dad Life. But again,
over 600 dragons. Nice.
Oh, okay. Great. So far over 600 dragons. We will talk more on Geek Dad Life, but here's a quick view of the stuff you could be getting. If everybody backed the Bay, trust me, it's not easy for me to look at these because I really do want the dragon. I want all these figures, but notice that I'm not bashing it, even though I'm not getting it. It's a thing that's possible. Like humanity, there is hope. Even though these days, okay. Let's quickly talk about some other toys. This is the Needless Ephemera, man. So on top of awesome indies like Spiro Toys and Four Horsemen, There's these amazing folks doing toys overseas. This is Mety Toyz / Hero Toys / Lingji Hun, for those of you who've been tracking. Mety Toyz is sort of their name for it's what they use as a brand when they're selling not quite legal, unlicensed World of Warcraft like figures.
Mm-hmm.
The two-headed ogres, who are often seen sort of arguing with each other in background animations and stuff in the games, they're coming out with them. Folks who've been following the Mety Toyz ogres, they're fantastic. I think they're such good toys. And that's one of those things, kind of like AWOK, y'all were talking about today, that people are getting because they love it, but also getting because they're great for customs. You're seeing a lot of like incredible
a lot of hooks. They
are now taking pre-orders for these guys, these two-headed beasts. Oh, I'll show this guy later. But I was trying to look for, there you go. Check out these, just the posing and the emotion, the attitude that's in everything from the face to the poses. Just like, there's so much, like you were talking about cartoons, right? Like that vibe that you get. Look at this guy. I love these. Have you at all? Sorry, holding the head of one's enemies. Have you partaken of any?
I've never touched one of these, but I keep seeing everybody buying the green orc and then making a custom Hulk, and I want to do it so bad. I want to pull the trigger because it seems like an easy thing to do, but I know as soon as I do, Mafex is going to give me a classic Hulk. I just know it's going to happen. It's like, look at that body, look at that pose.
It's beautiful. It's different. That's me. Like, I like variety.
Shot right here.
I like variety on my shelf, you know, like, and so different body types, different creatures. I'm all about that. Like, I'll put this next to my, my Mythic Legions, like Cyclops or, but I'm in on a blue one. So this is ultimately why I don't get dragons too. Like, it's the space, right? But it's not like it's a space issue, because I could get like 4 or 5 of these bigger guys next to each other for the real estate that the dragon would be. And again, not talking anyone out of the dragon, like that's 100% a grail item. It's gonna like, this. That said, we are living in this time where there's amazing toys to be had everywhere. And I'm definitely one that likes to look at this stuff. In addition to this little two-headed guy, as you kind of saw in that other one, there's been some other thing. Oh, this is the pre-order page, and we can skip it. Oops. Oh, I know what I did. And then in addition, they've got like, let's see, other things.
I saw this. Oh my gosh. It's incredible.
In World of Warcraft, in that sort of world, there are tigers as well that I don't believe are playable yet, but they're just pulling from all of it. And they're using like all this like Eastern Chinese influenced armor, not unlike we saw in, the Sun Wukong of Figure Obscura and a bunch of this stuff, but like, this is great. And then there's different options. There's definitely one that's more of like a barbarian, kind of like a Western fantasy barbarian. And it's Mety. So a lot of this stuff just comes off like AWOK. I know y'all were talking about that. Oops. Spoiler alert.
My gosh.
We'll get to that. But this is all the same company, right? Like 2 years ago? Well, I guess we knew about them, but they were called Memory Toys, like some other thing. But they just come out the gate with gorgeous toys that move beautifully, like an AWOK, I think, just pose like so incredibly well. And you can see all the paint detail, right? Like this is on the level of like what I see in like a Legions, like the attention to detail is there. And man, I'm definitely intrigued by this. But wait, there's more, as you saw. They're just like, that thing is cool, but we're going to take that same orc body and give you some Oni. So it's the same Mety Toyz orc body with, again, a little bit more like Asian influence stuff. This one more sort of Japanese leaning with the Oni mask and the sort of like shogunate flag thing here. But that's that hair, look at that hair, right? Just
crazy.
all the paint, the
It's so
details.
good. I think
You
I'm
know, and
down for that first tiger that you showed.
the tiger.
I bought Blade Master Wing.
Mhm.
I think it's a different toy company, but I bought that guy just because I love tigers, and like this is incredible. This looks great. I agree with Quip. That Oni is bananas.
Yep.
Like that's
Yep.
just out there. That's wild.
Bananas. Absolutely. And I love it when you guys are talking about like sort of mythic adjacent. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I'll allow it. Like, you know, like I get it. You from your standpoint, what am I adding to the thing that yeah, totally. And you know,
Yeah.
and people are saying things like holding out for the Bushido line. Definitely. I have. So while I am currently exercising some level of self-control with the dragon, keep in mind it's mainly because of space. But
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna get that Bushido one and this
Yeah.
one because that's just how I roll. I don't
That's
know.
insane. That looks so good.
We're all sick. Like we're all a little bit sick. And so was this Oni. And so is this Oni. Yes. Do these guys do human characters? They don't quite yet. Another company has been doing the human characters from World of Warcraft. They're out there. But so far they haven't done them. They're going to do dwarves. I think they've got dwarves on them. They've got an elf that's up for pre-order, goblins, but no humans yet. So the Oni figures are likely going up. The other thing with this stuff, folks, is if you didn't catch the part about it being a little bit less than legal because they are not doing the license, they are a little bit nimble. They'll show it, and then you'll see a pre-order. You won't see like necessarily a long lead up, a whole lot of information. Okay. We should move on though, because of time. Just a couple of other little things, and well, really not little, but Storm Arena. A lot of people like to talk about it in the context, oh, Jada and all this. Like, we can leave that out right now. I'm just talking about the idea that Storm Collectibles is doing a smaller figure at initially a $25 price point. They are doing Street Fighter Alpha, and this is sort of a size comparison because we are, for the first time, actually starting to see figures beyond, at least as Street Fighter goes, beyond Ryu and Ken. So this Sagat is kind of a new reveal this week. And I don't quite have the pictures lined up for some of the other things, and I'll show you Dan in a second. But I'm so down for this Sagat.
Yeah.
As I'm guessing based on your AWOK and your Mythic Legions, we have slightly bigger figures. Like if our Mythic Legions were standing next to that Captain America, they'd be a little bit bigger than him.
Right.
Which in my head says, hey, Sagat's perfect. So
no, he is. That looks really good. I'd love to see like how he stacks up next to the Jada Toys Sagat. Or how like maybe this Ryu stacks up against the Jada Toys Ryu. But yeah, like aren't they doing other Capcom licenses in the 1/12 scale? Like
they are. So recently,
Darkstalkers recently.
You sure did. And that was a big kind of conversation that I was having with some folks on a Discord, because there was this picture that came out, and it was originally, I don't know if it was Mr. Lee's or not. These are Storm Collectibles, by the way, but they're just beautiful, and I'm just going to leave them out there because pretty plastic. But for the Storm Arenas, there was a shot that came out of a display, and it was a mix of sort of Storm Arena and Storm Collectibles. And one of the Discords that I'm in, people were sort of like, oh yeah, those are all Storm Collectibles, except for some of the Street Fighters in the front. And I was like, nah, you know, I suspect that the Darkstalkers in that top corner are Storm Arena. They look a little different. And other folks started doing the enhancing, and we're like, well, we'll wait and see. Turns out that they were Storm Arena. So there was a Morrigan from Darkstalkers. There was a Lillith shown. And then there's also Baki that they're doing. So to cut to the chase, if you go on to Big Bad Toy Store, some of these are available for pre-order now, and you can kind of see the figures that are available now. But what struck me is that they're already sort of showing the prototypes for, you know, Sagat, Dan here, Chun-Li, and people are, you know, I've heard a little bit kind of naysayers saying like, oh, I don't know, it's Storm. You'll be lucky if you'll get these figures in like 2 years, and they're never going to get to those other characters. They're going to show you pictures of them, but you'll never see a prototype of Dan or whatever. They tease them, but it's going to be so long before you see them because that's how Storm Collectibles functions. And yet here we are. And my sort of operating hypothesis is that if I'm looking at these figures, they look more like a traditional figure without the rubbery overlays. And I suspect that these are just faster to produce. Like they're faster to be able to prototype and engineer. And so I suspect that we're going to be seeing these at a faster rate than we have Storm Collectibles, which have admittedly been slow. I also think it's in Storm's best interest right now. There's no doubt that they were spurned, or I don't know what you'd say. Like there's a fire lit under them once Jada got the Street Fighter license and was doing such an amazing job and continues to do an amazing job. Yeah. Here's my take on it. If you see our earlier conversation around the AWOK, oh, you know, like we want to be another new show like that, like Rising Tides, that whole conversation. Like,
that's right.
Yes. And I don't even like when we're talking about different AWOK fan stuff, it's not the competition. It's different. I don't know about you, but we're not making any money here. But as far as like Storm versus Jada and all that, dude, at the end of the day, this is how I see what happened. People were frustrated because it takes forever for Storm Collectibles to do Street Fighter figures. Enter Jada. Within what, a year and a half, 2 years, they've already got the entire roster of that Street Fighter out. And so that's exciting. Everyone's excited. And it's at $25. Re-enter Storm, who's like, okay, well, we're doing smaller figures that are basically the same size because they do scale pretty well if you compare their Captain America. But we're doing Street Fighter Alpha. And folks are like, well, I don't think you're ever going to see those figures. They're going to take forever. It's like, no, we're seeing them. And I think we're seeing the benefit of competition. Like, you know, don't worry about it. Like now Storm is going to step it up. And I think we're all just going to, like the rest of us who like toys and have access to, want to get these toys, you're winning. So don't worry about the competition. Don't like none of that. No reason to see that. Same as far as my brain goes, the existence of a Mety Toyz, who I know operates kind of in this somewhat gray legal space, I think it still affects the market positively, at least for us collectors. And then if folks are like, well, that's not good for the companies who are doing it right, like Hasbro, and they pay for their licenses, I disagree. Because I'd say for the last couple of years, a lot of us old people have been scratching our heads wondering, are people still going to be collecting toys? And then here we are with like toys for days and some of the best toys that we've seen in decades. So anyway,
I mean, honestly, like one of the things that I love about Jada is that I can walk into my Target and find them. Yeah. You know, like I really dig that. You know, there's not a lot of figures that I get to walk into stores and purchase, you know, like, I mean, occasionally maybe a Walmart or a Target may have like a Marvel Legends wave. That's probably it. Like, I'm not going to see brand new G.I. Joe Classified series in my stores until months after they've already shipped from Hasbro. You know, like it's just, and so I like being able to go into my store and finding, you know, oh, there's the new color Chun-Li that I never bought, or the new, you know, like that's really cool. I'll probably pick that up, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, I'm all in on the Jada, and I didn't need a Street Fighter line. I wasn't sitting here around going, man, you know what this collection really needs is some Street Fighter.
Some Street Fighter.
Dude, I just love posing fun toys. And, you know, if I go in there and they have a one I don't have yet, I've got an extra $25, you know, in my pocket, then I'm going to pick one up and have a couple of days fun posing, making pose videos and like just playing around with it. That's all. That's what it's all about. Yeah. I'm down.
On that note, real talk, like if you've ever handled a Storm Collectibles, they pose really well. I know maybe not as well as like some other things that I know a lot of import folks are like, but if you're used to like, you know, some of the domestic figures, this is, it's gonna open your mind a little bit. And I think, you know, Brian right here, like that's all that needs to be said really. Jadas are great. And these Storm ones look awesome too. What's the problem, right?
Yeah, I mean, and they're both focusing on different games that have different rosters. So, like, if you want a Dan, you're not going to get that in Jada Toyz Street Fighter Ultra, like Street Fighter Ultra 2 or whatever. Like, he wasn't. I don't think he was a character in that game. And you know, and so you know, I'll tell you what ruined my life completely was when I had Cloud on for my interview and I said, what toy line would you like to see somebody make? And she was like, I want Mety Toyz to make Darkstalkers. And I was like, you just ruined my life, because now I never thought about that. And now that's all I can think about. And I want that. I wasn't a big fan of the game, but those characters are gorgeous, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And now I need them. And now somebody's making them in 1/12 scale. So I'm down for it.
Yeah. Well, listen, if folks do want to talk more toys, want to talk more Beyithirr, want to talk about the win-win that is the amazing sort of game, the amazing toy game that we're in right now, I would say come hang out with me, Quip, and Jay from Geek Dad Live at in about an hour. And we will probably be talking about stuff like this that Nolan's interested in, that Jada's Scooby line, because that's coming around. And like,
without Scooby.
Again, well, you got to tease something. You got to tease something. How long have we as Legions fans said, "Where's the dragon? Where's the dragon? Exactly. Where's the dragon?" I hope they don't do that with Scooby, but
exactly,
we'll get there. You know, like June knows what he's doing. We'll get there. And I also imagine that's probably, it's so different from all the other figures that they want to get the articulation right, because it's Scooby. You don't mess up Scooby.
I'm sure it's No, I've wanted a really good Scooby-Doo line that really focused on the monsters and the people behind the monster masks. And so when I saw that, I'm like, like I'm more excited for the monsters than I am the Scooby-Doo characters, which I will still get. But yeah, those monsters are great
with the unmasked heads, right? How cool is that?
That is so good. Like the pulling off the mask, they're sculpted. You know, I like all of my kids, my 3 kids grew up watching Scooby-Doo. I grew up watching Scooby-Doo. Like we're a Scooby-Doo house, and I'm down for those for sure.
Awesome. Well, Mark, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for everything that you're doing with the AWOK, bringing that tribe together. And thank you for your awesome content. For real, like aside from this, I haven't said this to you yet, and let me say it right now. I'm a fan too. Like I love what you're doing. I'm, you know, you mentioned sort of like you've got an art and design background. Yeah, you do. And I'll just say, as an appreciator of graphics, as a practitioner as well, I love your branding. I love your ability to keep it clean and really kind of establish what you're doing. Just so you know, it's noticed and appreciated. So
thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great stuff. So check out Saturday Morning Toy Collector, but this was the sort of Meet the Collector series that you mentioning earlier. There's also the Double Jointed.
Yep, I do reviews Monday and Wednesdays. So Mondays they're typically Mythic Legions. I call them Mythic Mondays. Wednesdays it could be anything. It could be any toy line. We're going to do a review, and that's what we're looking at on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. every week. It goes live. Fridays is my Meet the Collector interviews go up. I'll have one coming up this next week. We'll have another Meet the Collector coming up on Saturday mornings. We have Double Jointed. It's a live show with me and Greg Smurber, one of my best friends in the whole world. Smurb. Yeah, we've talked with Brian Flynn from Super 7. He was super gracious with his time. That was a great interview. And then now, like every other Sunday, I have the Tribe, which started today with a whole bunch of my friends. They co-created it with me. They co-hosted it with me. We're going to be doing that every other Sunday. And a little bit of news. I'll give you a scoop. I have a local friend here in town named Scott, who is also a stand-up comedian and a great friend of mine and a massive toy collector. He is one of the best toy posers that I've ever seen. He tells stories with his poses. It's fantastic. You can check him out on TikTok. It's called Plastic Jokes. Just look him up on TikTok. He's fantastic. And he and I are going to be starting a podcast. I don't have enough going on.
You're like, I don't need enough content, man. I'm sorry.
I don't have enough content.
Once again, thank you to your spouse. And I hope she gets to see you someday, but keep going.
Yeah, we're going to start a toy podcast. It's coming out very soon. It's going to be an audio only, and it will be hosted on YouTube. Because I read an article the other day that said that more people are listening to podcasts on YouTube than Apple, Google, and Spotify combined. It is ridiculous how podcasts are blowing up on YouTube. And so we had already been talking about doing it, and it's just going to live right there. So all of our content will be right there. So if you like live streams, if you like reviews, if you like audio content, if you like shorts and pose videos, you can find it all. And if you like your modern remakes of 80s toys, then that's where you want to go and check it out. You can see my beautiful mug over there every week.
No sleep till 2027.
That's
yes.
right. That's right. Brian knows.
And if you don't need to pay for a dragon, please consider the Space Zombies from Mars. So Adam was on the channel last week. Space Zombies from Mars again.
Line.
Just like more toys, beautiful sculpts by Arlen, who is responsible for a lot of the figures that you all showed today on the AWOK show in terms of sculpting. Operation Monster Force, Naughty. I keep saying Naughty by Nature, Naughty or Nice. All of the Fresh Monkey, a lot of the Fresh Monkey Fiction stuff. It's a great line. We talked about it last week. Go check that episode out. They absolutely look awesome.
Yeah, they look great. I'm in for that.
But
I love zombies or like skeletons in armor, and then monkeys in spacesuits. Like I'm down for it. Like and he's putting zombies in spacesuits. I love it. It's a fantastic.
One of my first questions, I forget where he was at, but my first question was, hey, the peg size, is it compatible with AWOK? Not compatible with that. Great. Is it smaller than AWOK? Because I need to put some of those monkeys in spacesuits just like you. All right, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out again. Gratitude to your spouse for letting you come out and play and hang out and look at some Needless Ephemera.
I'll tell you that. Thank you.
Okay. And thank you to everybody who hung out with us today. It was awesome to see you all. We are going to close out, but I hope everybody has a good week. I hope everybody finds joy for real. I don't know about you, but I've struggled these last 2 months. But
same. We've
got the toys, we've got the joy. And I'd love to try and keep it positive. So if you've got anything negative to say about, dragons or whatever, just stay over there. We're having fun with toys. So
that's right. Thank you guys.
Anyway, yeah, for sure. Let me go ahead and here. This is where I try my best to be professional. And people think this is an act when I do this, but it's not. It's just I just need to talk to make it happen. Okay, there. See, professional. There's music. We're playing ourselves out. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week, and thank you, Mark. Woot woot. I'm clicking end stream now. If you're wondering what's happening behind, and I'm clicking it.